Hi, I'm Gina La Piana. I'm one of the executive producers on Rockin' a Hard Place. I'm also playing the role of Kat, which is Prism's girlfriend.
Now, who is Kat? What is her sort of archetype?
Kat is a tomboy, sexalicious, butch, vegan lesbian. I can relate to so much about her. She's really powerful, strong-willed, tends to be aggressive, a little controlling over her woman, but she really is invested in Prism, and they have a very loving relationship. Just super passionate and full of life, and she's a strong advocate for animals. That's really what she's living her life for. They have a company together, and they're doing a lot of philanthropic work all around animals. So in this particular scene, Prism's father shows up, and I believe he's the guy from the shelter. So I'm shoving all these boxes into his hands, like this one's vegan, this one's this, don't mess him up. And it just so happens that it's her dad coming to see her for the first time in many years.
Oh,
so it's a surprise to both of us, yeah.
Is she in rehab?
No, Lynn Jones, who they're calling Lawrence now, he's been in rehab for years, and he's really been MIA from my girlfriend Prism's life. And I could see the pain and the struggle that it's caused for her. So I kind of have stepped up and have been playing that role for her. She picked me because I have a lot in common with her father, so much so that we kind of were wearing the same clothes when he rolled up. We had the same leather jacket, the same jeans, the same energy, same vibe. So she basically picked a partner that was like her father, which is sort of kind of true to life, you know. Yeah, I think they're just madly in love, and my character really wants to be a man. I mean, she's been struggling and grappling with her femininity and the masculine sides of her, and I think throughout the series we will see her actually transform and make her dreams come true and transform into the man that she's always wanted to be. So it's definitely been an exploration for me and a huge voyage, this character.
So did you come on as an actor first or a producer?
You know what, it's interesting. I came on as an actor first. David Fagan, who's the writer, creator, and Stephanie Fagan, they had just seen an episode of a show called The Mentalist that I did, and they approached me to play the role of Prism. And I was so excited about it. At first I thought, it's just like another submission that I was receiving online about like, hey, I just saw your work, you can check out this piece. I watched the teaser and I was really blown away by it. It just was a rockin' cool idea, and so I asked David if he had other producers attached yet, and he said, no, we're really in the beginning phases. This is like 5 years ago. And so they had just written and rewritten and gotten the script where they wanted it to be, and I was one of the first people they had reached out to cast. So I said, look, I'm producing now. I'm much more interested in being involved on the production side of projects that I'm working on, and would you guys be interested in having me? He said, absolutely. He flew in from New York. We had a great long chat, and I took it and ran with it. I first got us placed with Brett Ratner's company, Rat TV and Showtime. We were over there for quite some time, and it was a big deal. We were all excited. I got the press release, the Deadline Hollywood, and all that stuff. How we're doing with Rat TV, and I guess Showtime really wanted Brett Ratner to direct it, and he was just willing to be the exec producer. He didn't want to direct. So then that deal fell apart. So then, talk about resurrection. I brought it to everyone. I brought it to Aaron Sorkin. I brought it to Randy Jackson's production company. I brought it to Mark Berg's company. Then we landed over at E1 Television with another friend of mine. And that was really exciting. And that brought us some really cool connections so far. But that didn't end up going as well. So, sometimes these projects have 9 lives, and you really just have to keep at it and chipping away at it. And then the exciting thing was that I had written, in the process of waiting, I had written a pilot for a series myself. And I went to like a television pitch meeting, and I met Archie Gibbs, who is connected with 44 Blue, Mark Wahlberg's company. And he said, do you have anything you want to pitch? And I said, yeah, I do. So I pitched my show, Steely and Jax, to him, and he loved it and said, stop doing this on your own, because we were just about to film with James Cullen Bressick, the director. I hired him to direct my piece. And when Archie read it, he said, I'd really like to be involved and co-write this with you, rewrite it, and I'd like to direct. So I called off the production. We were only a few weeks away from shooting it. And I've been rewriting that with Archie. So I brought Archie in on this project as well, because this one was more fully, it was just ready. It was round, it had been rewritten several times, and he really connected with the material and said, I'd like to jump in. So Archie came on board and last minute couldn't direct because his wife just had a baby. So last minute I hired James because, he's super prolific, 23 years old, and has already done 30 plus projects, so I thought he could handle the time constraints and everything that was going on. So I think we got really lucky.
So you stayed with this project, A Rock and a Hard Place, for 5 years.
Oh my goodness. I, through thick and through thin, because it got really challenging sometimes, through the process of writing and recreating and reinventing, things happen, and other projects have been coming up, and I had other work, and a few times I thought, I might not stay with it because it was taking so long, and there were a few losses, and I felt defeated a few times. But then I had invested so much time and energy, and I really believe in it. So I was like, you know what? I know it's going to happen. Just stay put, stay focused, don't give up, and here we are. So for me, it's really been a great exercise at hanging in there, and tenacity and persistence and patience, really.
Are you a person that loves to stay busy all the time?
Yes, super A-type. I've got like 5 things going on at once.
She's the best. She's the best.
I love you guys. You guys are awesome. This crew the cast and the crew has just been so phenomenal. I don't think we could have gotten any luckier, especially again with the time constraints, because some of it has just been thrown together. Even though it's been 5 years, we kind of got thrust into this, the original director having a baby and having to hire someone new. Our first 2 days, we lost 2 cast members. I had to recast one of my best friends in the role of Prism. So it's just been very interesting. I think you might have already interviewed Sheldon, who had to take the place of Tony Rock. So it's been, there's been some bumps and hurdles, but I think that's all part of the adventure.
How do you keep yourself calm when you've been waiting 5 years, there's been a lot of ups and downs, and then it's like, okay, it's go time?
I'm really good at compartmentalizing. Avoidance techniques are really good. Blame shifting is always awesome. I'll watch a lot of TV when I'm feeling nervous. I'll just go home, I'll lock myself in my room and stay up all night watching, design shows and things that are technical and aren't having to do with the entertainment business and acting. I will watch design, I'll watch fashion, anything but. Or interviews, and I read autobiographies, and exercise. I do a lot of hiking, and when all hell breaks loose, I'm up Runyon Canyon, connecting with nature and animals and dogs, and I'm that crazy lady who's chasing after your dog, basically.
Right, why isn't it on a leash and
I know.
isn't lost? Yeah. No, all about that.
Yeah.
But once it's crunch time and you know that you have to kind of show up and be present, are there certain mantras or is there something that you tell yourself?
Affirmations. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, I was just telling you that I'm about to take off to do A Date with Destiny, Tony Robbins. I think he's always been one of my superheroes. I came from super humble beginnings, like very poor, and left home early, like 15. I ended up getting my first television series, just really by chance. So I got thrust into this universe, this world of entertainment really fast. And so I had a lot of anxiety issues at an early age. So I had to learn all that stuff really young. I think, meditation and yoga and all of it found me as a coping mechanism for a lot of anxiety, being thrust into this world so quickly. So Tony Robbins, definitely all his CDs. I would do all the breath work, walking
right.
and affirming, and
Sure.
he's really been a savior for me, as well as so many, like Louise Hay and and so many, even Shirley MacLaine's books and Deepak Chopra. I mean, I'm just an avid reader of self-help, so I think those are really good. And yoga, meditating and yoga, and having like a really good core of solid friendships.
Do you think that an actor, producer, filmmaker should always have another interest that has nothing to do with the industry to ground them?
Absolutely, but do we have time for it?
Right.
Probably not. I mean, no, absolutely. I mean, travel for me is a savings grace. I basically sacrificed my whole 20s to succeed in this business. I really felt that my time had to be very directed at what I wanted to do and what I wanted to achieve. So I feel like my youth was kind of sacrificed for this business. I really didn't travel. I didn't have a family. Like I didn't, go out and party like everyone did. I was really learning and focusing and studying with the best instructors and being at every audition, and I just wouldn't do any of that. So the minute I hit my 30s was when I first tried all my first drugs, and not a lot of drugs, but just even recreational things that everyone has tried. I waited well into my 30s, mid 30s. Recently to try everything, to travel the world, to really just get out of that control freak mentality, because I really am very controlling over my life, and so I've learned to like loosen up and have some fun. And so travel adventure for me is kind of my solace. So I leave like every December, January.
Do you feel like this is your childhood now?
I do. I really feel that I'm living that. I mean, I have so much responsibility. I've taken on so much responsibility. Like you were saying before, that whole thing about being A-type and do you keep yourself busy? On the side, I have a very flourishing vacation rental business. So I have like 10 properties where I receive people from all over the world and help them enjoy holidays for less. And so that's also takes up a lot of my time. But we need our bread and butter sometimes when these things get slow. So I get to really realize the travel stuff through people who are traveling to my locations. And so I also get offered these wonderful like trips and exchanges to Australia and China and places that people wouldn't have access to. It's been a real gift.
When you were first coming to LA and getting on a show and maybe very vulnerable, what were some of the things that really helped you before you found meditation and some of these self-help books?
That's a really powerful question. I think this is really important because I know that so many people start. I almost can get really emotional talking about this because I was really alone, and so a lot of crazy things happen. When you're a single girl in Los Angeles.
Attractive, beautiful.
Thank you very much. And I was performing a lot. I'm also a musician, and I had 5 record deals as well. I was with Randy Jackson from American Idol, Tommy Mottola, and Donnie Ienner. So I got a chance to do all that as well. And some scary things happened early on. So I would say yes. I really found I had to. Even though I really disconnected myself from people, I had to really find support through friendships, through mentorships. I was blessed enough to be asked to perform and act in one of Aaron Sorkin's shows. I met him and he said something to the effect of like, you're the modern day female Bruce Springsteen of our generation. And that just really changed my world, getting to do music and acting in one series, and that's kind of what I've always wanted to do. So after the show was canceled, he and I built a really strong friendship, and he really became one of my strong mentors. Between him and Randy Jackson, because he was my A&R guy, I think those two were kind of like the dads I didn't have. And so if I had questions about the business or scary things came up, I was able to go to them and say, what do I do in this situation? What do you suggest? So they were both very helpful for me, even with the writing, even with, who do I take this to? What do you think? Is this good? How do I sharpen it? So I was really lucky. I mean, even George Lucas, I had some really incredible mentors that found me. And I guess I had the sense and the wherewithal to realize the gifts that I was handed and really sort of embrace them and utilize that help, because I really needed it. I did. So I was really lucky.
Lastly, if there's someone watching now, let's say, that's just getting into the business and things are really taking off for them, and it's a young female, how can they know that a mentor is right for them? Because I know that this is a town of people of many flavors, and you'll never quite know someone's true self until you know them out a little bit. And
I've definitely been in that position too. The casting couch, I've been definitely vulnerable to that. I think as women, we so often, especially in this business, we want it so bad that we're willing to bend our morality sometimes a little bit, bend and sway, because the idea of this might happen or that might happen. I would say it will not happen. Never, ever, ever compromise yourself in the name of your art. Just don't do it. Period, end of story. If it doesn't feel good in your gut, if someone's asking you to do something that you're not comfortable with, do not do it. And guess what? You'll be rewarded. If you stick to your guns and your moral compass, that will lead you to the right space and place every time. I lost years because I fell off track with that. I was lost, I was a kid. Sometimes I fell under the impression of somebody who I thought had my back, and they really didn't, and they were using me for whatever reasons. And it's easy to have that happen, and I've done the work to forgive myself about those things. But those young girls starting out in this business, just don't do it. Simply do not do it. There's other ways. Find great teachers, find great mentors. There's tons of them. A lot of times your acting teachers can really help you by way of finding the right managers, there's wonderful casting workshops like the Casting Key and these one-on-one where you can go and actually meet great agents, and just do not ever pay. When someone says that you have to pay to play, you have to pay to have an agent, you have to pay to be in it's wrong. Listen to your instinct. Our instincts are powerful. Mine has never steered me wrong. A couple times when I was on the lower side of my career, a couple times, and you just pick yourself up, heal yourself, find some interesting modalities to get back on your feet, and just don't compromise. That's been my strongest message, I would say, as an actress, as a woman in this industry. Just do not compromise. And a lot of this whole business is based around compromise. So, I think the stronger you can remain in your voice and be true to the authentic self, that's where your gold is. That's where your platinum is.